Hello guys, so is another episode of Memoir Mobile, and the album I'm going to use for this memoir is Omale's What Have We Done EP. So the first track on my list is My Baby. So the story around My Baby will practically be what I regard as my current baby, which is the company I co-founded earlier this year with a friend. It's a media and marketing company, and we sort of want to solve the creator monetization gap. So in February we had our IRL launch event, which we hosted creatives, industry experts, and people within the ecosystem, and we were graced with the presence of the commissioner in charge of the ministry where we function, which is the arts, culture, tourism, and the creative economy. So, you know, um, the journey of Urban State sort of started from a conversation between I and my founder, um, where we were having a discussion, and we sort of, he had this like pressing issue because he has already built like a community of about 1,000 persons, and within the community he had like different creatives who they are so good at what they do, and like making ends meet with what they already have, which is their like creative skill, was um, much more like difficult for them. So from there we started like doing research and started working on Urban Seed. Developed few products which we felt was like direct response to you know um, a peculiar highlight from Nigerian creative economy of 2025, which was developed with the ministry in collaboration with Communique. So in the document, when I read the Nigerian creative economy report, you know there was this particular highlight that stood out for me, which was that creatives in Nigeria earn less than $100 per month from their creative work. So they said creative work, not digital work. So creative work spans from whether you're a creator, you're a creative who does like something online or something offline, because artists who paint murals on the walls are still creatives. Guys who like host shows, compares, they are still creatives. They necessarily don't need to be making like talking head videos to be classified as creative. So when we started tackling the creator monetization gap, we now had to look at, okay, what is the size of creators. So there are nano creators, there are micro creators, and there are macro creators. So macro creators are those guys like you will consider like A-list artists when it comes to like music. They have like big audience sizes, and they sort of have structure to what they already do. But you have the nano guys who are between 0 to about 1,000 following. They are pretty much starting out, trying to like balance this entire thing to even understand how it works. The micro guys are like you're sort of in between 1,000 to I think 10,000. Some people would say 50,000. So they are between that range. At this point now, they are still figuring out, but they are still earning something from what they do, probably through brand deals, ad placements, and platform monetization practically. So when we understood these like three audience sizes, we came up with L-shaped ads, which is like an ad format inspired by broadcast TV, which burns ad placements into the videos directly before like the content is being distributed. Because we looked at how like monetization has worked in the past, and we still fell back to the traditional um, ad ad share model, which YouTube sort of like pioneered when they launched their YouTube partner program. So we looked at that and said, okay, since ads like sort of the bedrock for what like started this entire um, creators like the creator economy per se, in terms of like monetizing it, came from the ad revenue. So you actually know where the money was coming from, which was brands. So they just, what YouTube did was understand niches, aggregate, then ensure that those ads that are being placed reach the right like audiences. So we develop that format. But in this case now, you have like the right to embed those ads in your video, and you determine what happens with the ads and how you even charge. So realize that creators can also create content cross-platform. Like for instance, now you can have one content you make can be distributed across 3, 4, 5 different platforms, and with that ad format, you can have 3, 4, 5 different ad placements from different brands, unless a brand actually pays you for cross-platform campaigns. So you practically will start earning money from campaigns. So that's this other thing we came up with, which is like paid amplification. So that sort of balances usage rights, because there is a whole lot of back and forth to who has rights on, like on footage, how the footage is being used. So what we did with paid amplification is um, the creator earns a fixed fee or a percentage based fee based off whatever ad spend is on a particular video. So you have let me give a use case. So if you have seen OP ads, those ads like they are using over the years, I'm not sure those creators I'm not sure those creators are being like incentivized for every time those ads are being ran. So paid application is a direct response to that. So if a company wants to spend 100 million ad budget on a particular video, 10 million naira, if you're charging a flat fee, they pay a flat fee. If it's a percentage based, you take a percentage of their ad spend. So as that video keeps driving value for the company, you keep earning. So that is that. And we're also looking at we are not just thinking for now, we are thinking what creator economy is going to look like in the future. And from our research, we have seen that Web3, which is sort of the future of the internet, is what is going to drive that, because you're now looking at creators owning their own like assets. You're looking at participation. It's not just we just consuming content, but now you can consume content as well as earn from it. A whole lot of tokenization. Utilizing blockchain technology, from tokens to NFTs. To sort of like do things around community management, content licensing, and brand partnerships. So that is it for my baby story. So the next track on my list is going to be can't relate. So for can't relate, I would say for can't relate, I would say there's something I've come to understand while like trying to build myself as a person, having having like live different experiences. And I think this year, like, key word for me would be unfair advantage. Everybody has that one thing that like gives them leverage. For some people it's their family's background, for some people it's their family's wealth, for some people it's the goodwill of their name, for some people it's just like skills they have acquired over that time, for some people it's the network they have. There are just certain things that will contribute to like a particular metric that makes you exceptional. So I feel like for each individual, for each person, they have their own unfair advantage, and how you use that they will determine whatever output you're going to produce, whatever project or thing you have going on. For me, I would say it's easier for me to do things around brand strategy, blockchain research, and talent management. Because if I begin to look back at like times I've been opportune to like acquire skills or be in certain places or attend certain events, I helped on those things as early as possible. My dad would always tell me something when I was pretty much a teenager, that no knowledge is a waste. So that like sat with me over a long period of time, and I like when I see something I want to learn it, I learn it to the extreme of that thing, and I know, oh, this is just an added knowledge. But I've sort of like built my entire thinking around integration. So if I learn something new now, I'm trying to plug it into like an ecosystem of like my train of thoughts. So if I'm having conversations, it now allows me like think differently, brings in new perspectives on how I approach certain things. So I would say everybody has an unfair advantage, and that has guided me to my approach on execution. I learned graphic. I got interested in graphic design, I think, in 2020. This was, I think I saw a flyer. The classes was running a class, and I was interested. I didn't have the money to pay that time, so I sort of like looked at the flyer and I found an app which was like Pixel Lab. So someday I went to YouTube, I started learning stuff. I didn't like take graphic design seriously till about, I think, I started doing it very well in 2024, where I worked like in 9 to 5. So I already have that fundamental knowledge from 2020, and I even got like courses to expand my knowledge on that, and that now is like something now I'm not paying an additional fee. It's just something I can do for myself as well as monetize. Going to film school, learning about blockchain technology pretty much when it has not become like mainstream like you have it now. I think the first time I came across anything that has to do with blockchain was crypto, which I think was far back as 2016. After the crash, there was this talk around crypto. There was perfect money as of the time. BTC was, I think, 400,000. Like one BTC was 400,000 at that time. So I learned these things like pretty much earlier. Went to film school in 2021, and there are just a whole lot of things like I've gotten to like acquire over a long period of time, and so I have so many things that is my unfair advantage. So just look for that thing that you feel is your unfair advantage, leverage it, modify it when like not necessary, and just try to put out stuff. At times you really cannot tell like the impact of whatever you're doing till it's done. It's just like when I started mobile photography, I didn't. It's just something like I want to do. I didn't approach it from, I need to make $1 billion or $1 million from this. Is just something I enjoy. So as I go on and try to learn certain things and be in different places, you hear talks around monetization. I look at, okay, how can I leverage this? The possibilities to anything are just so endless. So that is all I will say on can't relate. So the next track on my list would be godly. So for godly, I would say I would say the godly conversation for me would be, it will necessarily be around fraud. So over the years, when I've acquired certain skills, and you really know you really know whether something is good or someone is bad in application per se, because you look at different skills people have. There's always utility for that when you flip it to the bad side. And so for me, over the years, I felt like there are like certain things I won't compromise on, because I know like what the effect looks like. So I've been in positions where probably like early days of like interest in photography, and people knowing I do that, people coming to you to want to do ID card, manipulations and stuff like that. And I knew to the extent at which this thing goes, So me just saying, I know how to do this, but I'm not going to do this, And this might be in days where like, you are hungry, you are broke, but staying true to yourself, your principles, your values, I think it goes a long way for you, because when you say no to like certain things earlier, it kind of like saves you peace, because you know that person is not going to approach you for that conversation again. They're always going to look for another alternative, and that alternative is not you. So you have your peace of mind. You don't ruin the relationship you have with, with the person, and everybody understand. Okay, this is my position on this, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So that's basically my godly story. So what I just want to, say to you, if you're watching, is everybody knows the difference between good and bad. Let nobody deceive you that they don't. In my language, everybody knows what they are doing. So there's that level of consciousness. So you should know the implications or the impacts of what you're doing. And in as much as you might not believe in karma, but cosmic laws exist, so that should just sit with you. So the next track on my list would be confession. So my confession story is necessarily has nothing to me like, confessing to anything per se. It's like a joke I want to make. So it's not like confessing like, the Catholics do, or I'm confessing to a crime or something, It's just like a joke around that like keyword confession. So in Anambra, okay, here, we have like a popular comedian who is Prince Neche, and his show is Prince Neche's Confession. So at the last show, when I got an invite for it, so I made this joke to like one or two people that, like, when I got that invite that was around, I was not like the name of Prince Neche's show is Prince Neche's Confession. And I think that was like the last one was like an anniversary type of stuff, because it's like a 10 years type of, he has done it for like about 10 years. So I was like, if Prince Neche's Confession, this is like the 10 years event, who has been investigating him since, like, who has been interrogating him since that he has not confessed to whatever he wanted to confess? So so that is just that is what the only thing I'll have to say on confession. And the last track on my list is Them. So, like when Kevia said, damn, that kind of stuff. But so this particular track is Them featuring Creators. So the so the dicey thing with being a creative in Nigeria is you have to figure out how to, stay true to yourself, how to be unique, how to make money, how to be just a Nigerian, how to be a human being, So I would say I'll pretty much say the creator economy per se is, I look at it as one of like the sectors that is going to drive the next wave of, what finance will look like, what wealth distribution will look like, in the coming years. And I just think everybody should be a creator per se. Everybody should, become a creator. And when it comes to monetization, there's something like I think we shy away from as creators, is the cost of creating. Everybody just says be consistent, you can start from zero, which necessarily isn't. The content creator, there's nothing like starting from zero, because if you're ever going to create content or distribute it online, you need data. Data is cost. So you can't say you're starting from zero. That is like you starting at saying you started at zero is you leveraging on something you're not going to incur cost for at that particular point in time. It's not like you necessarily started from zero, as in $0, $0. It doesn't exist anywhere. You have to pay for internet. If you use software to sort of produce, you have to pay subscriptions for that. There's just so many costs you have to like incur in the course of creating. And you have to create for a long period of time to find ways to sort of monetize. Because even with reaching platform requirements, you need shit ton of videos. you don't need one viral video. You need shit ton of videos to consistently prove that, okay, whatever system you have built works and people are willing to, listen to you. And we sort of forget that the creator economy is still sort of the attention economy. So if you're not creating an audience, you're not creating, because that's the like fundamental of where all these things started. Oh, this person has audience interested in books, this person has audience invested in food and stuff like that. Then people who want that visibility in certain niches want to place their ads there. So this is how these things work. Then another hard conversation I think we are not having as creatives is we want to charge so high, but incur so little. So, and when it begins to rub off, we begin to question, oh, like people are not willing to pay, but you're charging. You want to run a business, you want to run a creative business, you're using hacked softwares. Now, using hacked softwares does not make you realize that you're actually running a creative business, because you really cannot say, okay, this is this is the cost I'm incurring to actually produce. You get. Now let me sort of give like a use case. For instance, if I'm to create a flyer for somebody, you say, okay, do this flyer for me. Some people will tell you, oh, they charge 100k for a flyer. Some people will tell you they charge what's the name? They charge they charge 10,000 for a flyer. But now, if you have to like break out the cost, because just like the way artisans operate is still the way creatives are meant to operate. You have workmanship for everything you do. You get. So if I want to create, like, maybe I want to edit a video for you, I can say, okay, it is going to take me 5 hours to edit this video. So I need to be in a workspace. What's the day rate for that workspace? I need to pay. For instance, if I'm designing on Canva for you, I can pay for a day. I can build in the cost for subscribing to Canva for a day into the cost. I can build in welfare and what is going to take me to go to the workspace, what I'm going to eat while I'm at the workspace, and I build out this cost. Once I have this like recurring, I know, oh, this is like a fixed cost that no matter who wants to like get this service, this is what it's still going to cost me. So anything I place on my workmanship is dependent on me and the nature of the relationship I have with whoever is hiring me. You get. So I think creators need to understand that you're actually running a business and you incur cost whether you like it or not. You're incurring cost one way or the other. And how you approach that will determine how long you're still going to be in business, if you're ever going to build one. So what I'm just trying to say is that we should begin to think like the way corporations do, understand what costing looks like, understand what branding looks like, understand what governance looks like, understand even I don't know if creators, big creators do like CSR, corporate social responsibility. These are things that needs to be done like in the long run, because imagine a big creator does like in their maybe like their annual, like CSR, they sort of pay for courses, grant access to certain things. There are just a whole lot of things that will make the creator economy like very, very rapid in terms of like growth, and we reaching that benchmark we're supposed to be at. So that is all for what we have done EP. See you on the next memoir. Peace.